sooner or later. And it is. So I think this is volume 13 of live coding in F# and building a Get Ride application. And hence Get Ride application, also inspired by domain-driven design. Ride domain, account domain, and I have this app.foundation that pretty much represents mostly app logic, as well as there's a test API in here. So specification as a library is what I've been preaching in here. Ride.specification has your language, events, and operations. So a specification is essentially a blueprint. It still needs to be interpreted. Thus, it gets interpreted by a domain, right? So your domain will, well, your domain and also operations that you can inject into a view model will basically interpret that specification for the needs of the application. So, for example, hold up. Interpretation is request ride. It takes a passenger, a pickup, destination. The result is a pending ride. Option. You may not get a ride at all. Cancel ride takes a pending ride, results in a canceled ride. Option. Okay. Not sure why I have option right here. Yeah, I'm not sure why I have option right here. This canceled ride should be a cancel ride, period. And my OCD is going to say, okay, why did I do this? And I'm pretty sure that I was probably constrained to do that. And just to quiet the compiler, I just added option there. So I should get some compile errors because I commented out the option part of cancel ride. When you cancel a ride, you should get a canceled ride. It shouldn't be maybe a cancel ride. It should be a cancel ride. So hopefully I can fix this without spending the next hour or two. So here's our error right here. And it should just be that right there. And does everything still compile? Building. I could go back to my operations within Ride, scope to this. Okay. And the build succeeded. I could comment out this option right here, Boy Scout rule. Keep things cleaner than you first found it. That's what I'm practicing. All my tests should pass still. If it doesn't pass, I'm going to turn into Incredible Hulk and get really angry. Okay. It's building. I really plan on getting a 64 gig of RAM laptop. I want to know what that feels like. Still building. And it's running the tests. Tests should go green. Everything's green. Okay. So checking this update. Home. Get ride. Commit. And say removed option type for canceled ride. Okay, check that in. Now what? Well, what I want to focus on right now is When we request a ride, we get a pending ride, which is this right here. And it's a pending ride option. There's sooner or later, we have to get picked up and en route. Now we could probably ignore the pickup part, or can we? So if I go to ride specification.events, there's ride requested, ride pending, there's cancel requested, ride canceled. Okay. Question is, should there be a pickup in addition to en route? The pickup event, or picked up event, notice how everything's kind of past tense with the exception of this ride pending. When, let me think, in an Uber or a Lyft, they confirm that my name is Scott Nimrod. They ask me who I am. I tell them. And then they say, all right, cool. So I'm not sure if that's really necessary to put in here or not. I think I'm going to omit that for right now. But we definitely need to handle within this application the en route stage of this ride state machine. Okay. So what about en route? When you're en route, that means that you can no longer cancel a ride. Yeah, when you're en route, you can no longer cancel a ride. And when the ride has ended, the result of that should be a fee that is outputted. Okay. But if we do en route, what does that mean? If we go back to our operations, we have a request ride and we have cancel ride. Now, when you're en route, I don't think that's a function that the app calls, right? When we're en route, I think that's a notification that it may be a notification that we receive that we're en route. And that can be broadcasted to other would-be passengers that are waiting on their pending ride. So I'm in the operation scope of, I'm in the operation scope of this ride domain. And I mean, I could zero in right here, scope to this. And what should happen is, I think that there should just be a notification that we're en route. Is there anything else? Well, maybe there's a service that can be running on the application, and that service could determine, based on your speed, you know, per second or per minute, if you're in a vehicle or not. That's another option. And that service would basically publish to the outside world that you're moving, which would mean that you're en route. Okay. So it makes me think if we need to do anything with the passenger based on these various events. In a way, this ride state is the passenger. So, okay. Let's try to think of this from a different perspective. I have a suite of tests right here. Get ride, cancel ride, okay? What about ride ended? Maybe we should start at the end and work our way backwards. So if I could add a new test called ride ended, okay? Then move this up a little bit. This module right here, bring it back, and we say ride ended, something like that. Okay. We want to open our NUnit dot framework. Okay. We also want to open our FS unit. Okay. And then we want to what we want to do? We want to have its test attribute for our test explorer to discover. And we want to say let, and then some tick marks, and then what we say, let phi is generated and or on routes ended. Okay, something like that. And we can say that, well, there's going to be a setup, and there's going to be a test, there's going to be a verify, right? Now what? Well, phi is generated on route ended. Okay, well, you have a let view model equal, and you have I guess you have a route ended view model. And okay, now what? Do we have a route ended view model? Or do we have an in route view model? And then we receive a notification that a route has ended. That sounds likely. And then when a route has ended, we are presented with a different page in which it has the fee and the rate the driver, and I don't believe in tipping, but usually it asks if you want to tip the driver, right? That would be a different part. So it sounds like this view model should really be a in route view model. Okay. And we want to basically, the test should be how would this work? The test should be something that deals with the destination has been reached. Okay. Now, that destination reached is going to basically be tightly coupled to some service that's going to run that has yet to be determined within this implementation. I mean, it's going to be in this implementation, but we haven't fleshed out or identified a service. But that service is going to publish that destination has been reached. Okay. Ah, yes. So we're going to have a let service equal, and you could call it GPS service. I don't know. We could call it tracking service. That's probably better. And well, do we call it passenger tracking service? Do we call it driver tracking service? I think we probably have both of them. We have a passenger tracking service, and we'll also have a ride or a driver tracking service. And then we can use some logic to basically say that, and this is part of the strategies that I was talking about maybe 3 videos ago, of how can you have confidence that the passenger, the would-be passenger, is actually en route. And I was saying that, well, when both the passenger's GPS and the driver's GPS are in sync with each other. So that makes me believe that there should be a passenger tracking service and a driver tracking service. Okay. Okay. So that's still within our ride domain. Scope to this. And now we're going to have a tracking service. So this would be passenger tracking service. And oh, it's my phone ringing. And then we'll have eventually, well, I'll go ahead and write it down. We'll have a, hold up. We'll have a, bring that down. We'll have a driver tracking service. Okay. And ride.domain. Well, this needs to be core. Core. Okay. And we need to update the namespaces or the module name right here to, ride.domain. We'll make this a namespace like this. So now you have ride.domain. And we'll have a type called tracking service. And right now that's just going to be a member x.foo equal unit, something like that. Okay. And we can do the same thing over here for our driver tracking service, just so that it compiles. Okay. So that's driver tracking service, whatever. All right, now what? Well, so we have our namespace ride.domain. So this probably should be a namespace ride.domain. And then we just say module equals, you could say core, or you say module core and then you can say equals. And then everything below this has to be indented. Uh-oh, come here. Everything below this has to be indented like this. And that should be straight. Okay. So then I'll go back to my passenger tracking service right here. And this passenger tracking service is going to be a class, unlike all the other modules that I have. And so this class is going to be stateful so far. And what's going to happen is we're going to have a property on here called coordinate. Okay. And that coordinate is going to be related to let coordinate equal, and this is going to be, what is this going to be? It's going to be perhaps a tuple. And see, is it a coordinate or is it a location? I think it's going to be a coordinate for right now. And this coordinate is going to be I actually think I have this in my specification. In language, I have GPS coordinate, latitude, longitude. Okay. So here, I should have like latitude, this is like new to me, but this passenger tracking service is going to take the origin, passenger origin, maybe, and maybe it's going to do that, and that's going to be of type GPS coordinate. Okay. Okay. Let's assume that this is okay to do. Now what? Well, we can say let mutable, and we can say member x coordinate with it equals coordinate, and then we could say and set, which is going to have a value in here, equals, and then you can say coordinate will be that value. Okay. And OCD says that you should be aligned. Okay. So that's okay for right now. Now what? I'm not sure yet. But we have a passenger tracking service, and it has a property called coordinate. Okay. And that's it. This is going to update but I don't think anybody should be able to. I don't even think I could say internal on here. Like, I don't think I could say, like, I could probably say private. Okay. Now, if I do private, that means that this property can't be, well, I don't have to do private. I could just have a getter on here, but this can be private set, maybe. Can I just say private set right here? Okay, that seems to be okay. So this get is exposed. The private set is like read only. Okay. And how is this going to work? Well, this should probably subscribe to some type of event where it's the passenger coordinate changed event or notification. Okay. So how does that work? I'm not sure yet, but what I would say is there's probably something like let on coordinate changed, and that's going to take a coordinate and I can say that, oh yeah, we need to do this as x, and then I could probably say something like x dot coordinate now equal to the coordinate. Of course, the coordinate is up here, so we can say, I don't know, you could say coordinate with that like that. Okay. So you have one coordinate changed, it takes a coordinate, and then we update the property of the object. The coordinate equals this updated coordinate. Or you could just call this update. Okay. Okay. Now what? Well, you can say that maybe there's some handlers in here. Maybe. And maybe we can say that, how do I want to frame this? Maybe we can say that how do I want to do this? Maybe I want to say, I want to broadcast that the passenger tracking service is running, and it's going to attach its handler so that some outside system will, well, this is the system. This is the passenger tracking service. But this is just within our app. Okay. This is the passenger tracking. Yeah, I'm not sure about this right now. This, regardless, needs to attach this on-coordinated change to the handlers in here. Okay, so I'm not sure how to do that. Broadcast, let me figure this out. Let foo equals, and we take these handlers and we say, we could say handlers, we're going to assume that's a list, and we're just going to tack on this on coordinate change right here. Okay. Okay, now what? Well, we need to, now that we attached our handler for when we receive a notification of a coordinate changing, we need to publish our handler so that when the system recognizes that a coordinate has changed, we can execute this handler right here and update the coordinate right here. I know I'm close, but that doesn't sound entirely accurate, the thing we want to do. This passenger tracking service, it needs to receive a notification. Now, okay, if it needs to receive a notification, let's think about this differently. Then let's abandon the handlers idea for right now. And let's just imagine that we have a let poll position. You could say let request current or you could say let request location. Okay. Make that a unit for right now. And that request location can, let me see. That's going to basically make a request to some system. So we may have a request right here. And that request dot what? Request dot location. Okay. Of who? Request location of, maybe it's the passenger. Maybe it's not. It's the device that they have that's being tracked. So it's a passenger device maybe. But I mean, of course it's the passenger device, but do I need to be that specific, or do I just say passenger? we'll say request location of passenger. And that passenger may be a record that has device information that the GPS needs in order to track it. I think I should be specific and say device. Okay. So request location device like that. And okay. And what is that going to do? Well, that is going to basically be let location equals. Then I can say x dot coordinate, which location. Now, what's wrong with this? Well, we're using location and coordinate interchangeably. So maybe what we could do is maybe we could do something like, we'll go back to our coordinate over here and we'll say coordinate apostrophe and then coordinate apostrophe like that. And request location is the function that we use. And this relies on this is maybe a, we'll call this GPS. Oh, come here. GPS, maybe. That location. And maybe this GPS. Well, no, maybe this device, maybe we get rid of GPS like here. Okay. Something like that. I don't know, something like this. And I mean, if you do that, then you really can just do this right here. You can get rid of that coordinate and you could just say, like this. Okay. Which means that this on coordinate change can go. Okay. Do I really need this right here? Maybe. Okay. So now we have to define this device. Device and passenger are two different things within the ride domain, right? A passenger is actually like a first name, last name. They have an account, whatever. But we're tracking the device in our ride domain. So under a specification, we're going to have a type device, and that device is going to be what? I don't know. It's going to be something. Let me go back. That device is going to, the way we refer to it, is going to have get location as a property that's a function. So get location, and that's going to be what? That is going to be that's going to be something. It may be a, for right now, so a unit and a GPS coordinate. Okay. Now, we can say that maybe there's a type and we call it device ID, and that's going to be a device ID of string. Okay, I'm pretty sure that every phone has a unique ID to it. So maybe that takes a device ID and it will return the GPS coordinate. Okay. Anything else? Maybe not. Now, this is supposed to be a mobile app, right? And so there's going to be services on the mobile infrastructure, right? Whether it's Android or iOS, that's just going to do it for us. Okay. So with that said, because we already know that the infrastructure is already there or the capability is already there, do we really need a device ID? And it's no. Okay. So what are you really doing? Well, we just want to request. Do I already have a request in here already? Yeah, I have a request in here already. Okay. So what do you really want to do? Well, just want to in this case, and I don't think we should put it in here. This operations, this is all related right now to we should make this a module called before ride, for lack of a better term. And that's going to shake up some things, but uh-oh. Can I bring it back there like that? Now, this is before ride. You can request a ride. You can cancel a ride. Okay, and that stuff makes sense right here in the before ride module. Now we want to have another module called during ride. Okay. And in a during ride, you want to have a request. And that request is going to be your, what did I say in here? That service was request location. And why am I doing this? Passenger tracking service. That's on the device itself. So you can have a request location. That's going to be your GPS coordinate. Okay. And right now, that's all we care about. Okay. So we have our open ride dot specification dot operations dot during ride. Okay. And we're going to have a request right here of type request like that. Okay. And then that request can be location like that. That location is going to return, it's going to take a unit and, come here. It's going to take a unit and it's going to return a GPS coordinate. Okay. So we can probably say that we're going to have a type called request location, and that's going to be a unit and it's going to return a GPS coordinate. Okay. So then we can say that this location is a request location function. Okay. So now what? This right here, we don't need this anymore. That's already embedded in our request. Okay. And what this probably should do is there will probably be like a let timer equal, and I don't know, is it called timer? Is that what it's called? And is a timer disposable? We'll find out if I say new timer. It'll tell me if it's disposable. It does not take 0 arguments. So what are you supposed to take? What do you take, timer? You take a timer callback. I don't know what that means. What's a timer callback? Timer callback. It's some object and returns the unit. I don't know what that stuff means. Well, make a long story short, we'll have this passenger tracking service. We'll have a timer, and every time the time lapses based on some time interval, will request the current location and we'll publish that location. Okay. So how do I use this timer? Because now I'm curious, right? So you have C# timer, and this timer, I don't see it implementing iDisposable unless that's part of iSupport initialize. Well, yeah, it's iDisposable because I see it right down here. Okay. So they have this timer and it's, you pass in milliseconds. Okay. So we'll pass in every 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3. It doesn't like that. The freak. What's this namespace will be? System.timers. Whatever. La la la. Okay. So system.timers. Timer is the class, not system.threading. So we'll do this right here. And then you have timer. That's going to take a float. I don't know. Do I put F here? It has. What am I supposed to put for a float? 1.0 F. 1000.0 F. 00 F. What am I supposed to put right here? The expression was expected to have type float, but here it has float 32. Okay, so I'm asking you, what do I put here? I just say I cast this to float like this. Okay. So we have our timer, and in the documentation it says that we have new on it, so it's disposable. And we say timer.elapse, and we give it an event. Oh, I don't know how to do that in F#. That's something I have to figure out how to do in F#, but we'll have timer.elapsed add handler. And can I just do fun and then something like that and then something like that? Unexpected something declaration. What do you mean it's unexpected? Or do I just do add? This add takes something and okay, so unexpected, whatever. Okay, so what am I supposed to? Am I supposed to throw this inside of a actual function or method? Okay, so member x dot start equals, and then do something like that. And this will basically take x dot coordinate equals, and then we'll say request dot location. Okay. And I think that location is supposed to be unit. All right. Okay. So all that requires us to start the timer, or should I say initialize, something like that. And this is our passenger tracking service, okay? And honestly, I don't even think we need to call this passenger tracking service. We could just leave it like this, tracking service. And then we'll create an instance of it for both the passenger and the driver. So we delete driver over here, and we'll rename this file over here. Like that, okay? And what else? Well, I think that's okay for now. So we have our tracking service, takes a request in a passenger origin. Okay, do we really need that passenger origin? No, I don't think so. We'll just say that, no, we'll just say that this is going to be latitude 0 and longitude 0. Okay. When we call that initialize, this is going to update the coordinate right here, which updates that. Okay. So, is there anything else? I guess before I end this video, I should clean up whatever compilation errors. We have this operations before, right? So that's where I'm going to get all these errors from. OCD says that maybe I should do something like that. All right, so let's go. All this stuff right here can be attributed to operations dot before ride. And that all goes away. Okay. What else? All this stuff over here can be attributed to operations dot before ride. Okay. There's some other things that it's complaining about, but let me go back over here. All these are my tests. I'm going to unload these tests right now. And I want to focus on these other errors right here. Operations dot before ride. This domain dot converters. I think I called this domain dot. I thought it was called core. Ride.domain.core. Ride.domain.core. Something like that. And over here, yeah, so Control Shift B to build. Build. You 16 gigs of RAM computer. And this is taking a long time for such a small project. I got to upgrade to a beefier machine. All right, so all that compiles. Okay. Even though I still get red squigglies. And I want to reload my tests over here. Reload project. And when I attempt to build my test, that's going to give me these errors right here. And at that, and for ride ended, I have the passenger tracking service. This test is important, but it's going to be commented out right now. And actually, I think I could do a ignore. And you probably want a reason. And I say, I don't give you a reason. I'm Scott Nimrod. Okay. So I'll ignore it. That'll be on my radar. So it'll show up as bright orange when next time I compile the solution. Of course, you want something, right? So do this right here. And let's generate pickup over here. Okay, that is the same red squiggly that doesn't go away. Everything succeeded. So theoretically, when I run this, I should get an orange warning. That's not cool. Hold up. Where's my ride ended? I expected you to show up. Attribute used to mark a test to be ignored. Maybe I still have to put it as a test. Like this. Then maybe you will mark it as, yes, I identified that this is a test, and I'm going to decorate it with a color saying that I'm ignoring it. It should be like an orange. Yeah, not run test. This is what I'm looking for right here. Skip test. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay. So everything builds, and because of this orange right here, that's going to draw me to my next video. Write a test for this. Fee is generated on route ended. Well, that's not even what I attempted to work on. I was working on the GPS tracker, which is, or the tracking service. So do I need to write a test for the tracking service? I don't think I do, but the reason why I wrote this tracking service that's still being written, right, is to basically, for it to participate in knowing when a route has ended. Why do I call that route? I should call it ride. And ride ended. Okay. So this route, okay, that's fine. So build this again. Everything builds, and I'm going to check in the solution, and to just review, I added some plumbing for the operations where we have a list of operations that are associated to a before ride, and we have a list of operations that are going to grow for during a ride, and there will probably be something for after a ride as a separate module. The ride.view models, right now there's a get ride in here, but there needs to be another view model that it's not going to have an implementation yet, but it's going to be a en route view model. And so that will be ride.view models like that. And then we'll have something like this, view models, and then you have a type that's en route like that equals, and then you can say X, or you can say member X dot foo. Okay, it's temporary right now, and that's going to return a unit. Bring it back over here. So this en route view model is on the to-do list. The test is on the to-do list. Implementing the timer is on the, where am I at? Let me bring this up. Implementing the timer, why are you doing that? Control comma timer, implementing that, or should I say the tracking service is on my to-do list. So there's like around 3 things that are on my to-do list for the next couple of videos. Everything succeeds, everything's up to date. I have 17 green tests and 1 test that's being ignored because it's not implemented. I'm going to check this in commit and say partial support for en route view model and tracking service. Okay, something like that. Push it, say yes, and that stuff gets pushed up to master. It's only me, so I don't think I need CI or continuous integration. And that's it. So killing this broadcast. I'm Scott Nimrod. I'm available for hire, and I'm just building stuff right now. So peace, adios.